The BBC continues to spread fake news about Brexit, Dominic Cummings stands up to biased journalists, and Boris Johnson confirms a clean break Brexit. Well, hello everybody and happy Sunday. As you know, we have officially left the European Union. We are no longer a member, but obviously we have the next 11 months during the transition period to sign trade deals and prepare for a completely independent country. Now, on Friday, when we had the Brexit night and celebrations, we expected the mainstream media to be biased, and they weren't disappointing. They were extremely biased. In this video, we're going to talk about specifically the BBC's behaviour on the night. First, let's actually start with this, because they had the news night, and the segment was about the European Union. And the background was completely blue and yellow instead of actually, obviously this is a Brexit night. If you want to have a theme, background, image or colouring, you could have just gone with the Union flag or just go with something simple. This was obviously, a lot of people were outraged, but this isn't my problem. This is just, it's trivial, it doesn't really matter, but it's more than this. That they've done a lot more on the night to basically show their true face. Firstly, let's start with the fake news that they've been going around all night, spreading. The BBC went and told the whole country and the whole world, probably, BBC World News, that there were a couple of hundred Brexiteers outside Parliament celebrating Brexit. A couple of hundred. There are a couple of hundred people, as you can see in this photo, just outside Parliament. This is definitely a couple of hundred people, and you can't actually see the rest of it on Whitehall towards Downing Street, where we also had obviously a massive crowd as well. Obviously, nobody is claiming that we had a million people march outside Parliament, but this was definitely not a couple of hundred Brexiteers. Now, we saw more examples of not just fake news from the BBC, but also the way they frame the debate. Now, if you saw yesterday's video, I interviewed Douglas Carswell, and he mentioned that the whole division that we have experienced in the country since the 2016 Brexit vote is actually because of the media. They create these divisions. They want to basically stir things and cause a drama because it's good for their ratings and it's good for them to... It's a very bad idea, but I think this has been going on for a long time over the last few years in the media. This is just how it works. Now, there is one specific person, Guru Murphy. She is, she's part of the BBC One team primarily, and she goes and does kind of different segments and various news programs. She was given the responsibility that night to go out there and interview the Brexiteers and ordinary people who came out to celebrate their independence. And so firstly, this is what she did. She met a couple of people, and her first target was people's skin colour.
Looking at the crowd, it is a very white crowd, mostly. White crowd.
So she went out and said this is a white people's rally. Like, this basically, primarily everyone's white. A few problems. Now, let's look at the picture I took with a group of people. This is just one photo with a couple of... by the way, thanks for guys for coming and kind of asking for a selfie and everything. It was great meeting all of you. This is, as you can see, a very, very white rally. And but jokes aside, this is absolutely ridiculous because I've never seen a more diverse group of people, especially when it comes to the Brexit events. But that's all irrelevant because obviously this is primarily a white country. I mean, what do you expect? It is an event for the UK becoming independent, and there are obviously more white people. And naturally speaking, did she expect everyone to look Chinese or something? I have absolutely no idea. So we know it's all about hatred and self-guilt, and they don't basically like anything that was already there in the first place. Now, she also decided to question and grill ordinary people out there. Now, there is a lesson. There's 101 journalism reporting is that you punch up, you don't punch down. You question and you grill people in the position of power. Politicians, business owners, corporations and big names. You always question and grill them. And you don't punch down with ordinary people. And they have done that where they go to Remain rallies or the Labour Party events where they just ask people, why are you here? How's your day going? And that's it. They just get their opinion. They don't really grill them. Now, this person, she decided to go out there and actually grill the ordinary Brexit voters and to frame the debate and shape them in a way that people think, oh, look at these Brexiteers. They don't know what to say. They don't know who they are and why they're actually there.
Amazing. It's what we've been waiting for 4 years. It means we get our country back, we get our sovereignty back.
What does that actually mean? In practical terms, what do you mean?
Seriously, was that necessary? What does that actually mean? Luckily, she's going to answer.
Well, the country's ours again, and we can have a lot more say, a lot more rule to what happens in it.
Over which rules?
I don't know,
Over
just
how
whatever,
our court laws
Right.
will be changing to ours. So we have what say goes on in this country. So human rights and everything will be turned into our laws.
Yeah.
And we will have the right to, well, our courts will have the right to say what goes on instead of Germany.
Now, the problem with this is that after this clip went out on Twitter, you had your typical group of arrogant, so-called intellectual Remainers complaining and saying, see, this is what Brexiteers are. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. And they're clueless. In reality, that's absolute nonsense, because not everybody has to be as articulate as a Remainer professor, obviously. Secondly, with everything having said that, like, they completely were spot on with everything that they said. They don't have to, obviously, not everybody has to remember all the different specific terminologies of the legal system of this country or Brexit or the European Union. But these people, everybody out there has a voice. This is a democracy, and they basically were spot on. Everything that they said was true. And these people have a good heart. I'd rather go with someone who has a good heart and good intentions than someone who's just going to be like, well, you don't have a PhD, so you can't have a say. And speaking of arrogant people, Gary Lineker.
Britain's ambassador to the EU, Sir Ivan Rogers, has announced that a Brexit deal could take 10 years. That's not fair. Most of the people who voted for it will be dead by then.
Now, I'm not actually sure how to respond to this. Again, this is another BBC programme where people just laughed about the fact that some old people happen to vote Brexit and they're gonna die. Now, the insult aside, let's talk about this logically, because there were also some old people who voted Remain. And it's just, I don't think we should debate, when it comes to these sort of things, we should debate like this. Have some dignity, have some integrity. This is not how you should behave. Again, someone like Gary Lineker in a position of power, he has a massive platform. His words matter, and his influence matter, and they don't understand what the division that they're creating. But my favourite bit is they were showing the rally outside Westminster with Nigel Farage and everybody and all of us, and the shot cuts to the actual studio. Look at the reaction of the presenters.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
Absolutely priceless. They were not happy. And this is exactly why now a lot of people are calling to end the BBC licence fee. But I think, for me speaking, this is not the only problem, because it's not just the BBC. This is a culture created by Ofcom, the regulator, but also a culture created by the media elite. It's not just the BBC. It's all the broadcasters out there, from ITV, Channel 4, Sky News, all of them. And so it's not necessarily just about the BBC, because they have become so out of touch with reality and ordinary people out there. They don't even report things properly anymore. And so obviously we want the BBC to be reformed, the license to go away, make it subscription based, make the consumer to actually have a say. But we should also reform the whole establishment, including Ofcom. Because, for example, ITV last night, so they do this thing where they go and basically chase people on the street, including Dominic Cummings, the special advisor to the Prime Minister. Now, on the night of Brexit, he happened to go to a restaurant, have some food, and then he was just going to go back to the office. So instead of these journalists, instead of booking an appointment or sending a question to his office, they usually just, what they do is they chase him on the street. And Dominic Cummings, obviously, he absolutely despises these people. He decided to stand up to them, and well done, Dominic.
Are you celebrating with the Prime Minister tonight?
I'm going back to work.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There's a lot of division still in the country, though. How are you going to get everybody back together after this?
Well, we'll see.
Does the hard work start now?
Are you going to keep walking along asking your name questions about your plan?
Well, I'd like to have a conversation with you about tonight. This is a momentous moment for the country.
So we're not going to have a conversation. Are you going to walk along asking your name questions? Is that your best move?
I'd like to have a conversation with you.
Is that all you can say?
Well, it is a momentous night, isn't it?
Is that all you can say? You got anything else to say?
You've worked very hard on this night to come.
Absolutely love it. Well done, Dominic. Now, because if they're going to be behaving in a way that they're going to go out there in public and disturb the peace, then stand up to them. Be direct. Say, what's wrong with you? What do you want? Are you just going to be following me around asking the same stupid questions? Another news, Boris Johnson has come out and has created his new red lines, and he's going to put it in writing and make it official that there's not going to be any concessions from the UK side when it comes to the trade negotiations. We are not going to be politically aligned to the European Union. This is obviously Boris Johnson telling the European Union that no more concessions. Obviously, we've had a lot of those since 2016, and but now he wants the UK to basically have a completely clean break when it comes to Brexit, and he wants just trading relationships with the European Union and nothing else. But we have to pay tribute to not just Boris Johnson, but the man who made all this happen, Nigel Farage. If it weren't for Nigel, obviously, we wouldn't even have had the referendum in the first place. So Boris Johnson, obviously, a massive thank you for delivering Brexit, because it wasn't an easy thing to do. And Theresa May failed to do that. And Nigel Farage for obviously actually creating a movement and getting that referendum that we needed. So with all their differences, they have all now come together in the interest of unity and the United Kingdom. Now, despite Brexit, this channel is not going anywhere. We have a lot more to do in the next few months, in the next few years. We are creating a media movement thanks to you guys. We are now obviously getting to a point where the focus is going to be about draining the swamp and the establishment on a daily basis. On this channel, we're going to be covering the news that the broadcasters don't cover. So if you're new to the channel, if you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell next to it so you get notified. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can find my Twitter and Instagram details down here. We have a daily show at 5:45 p.m. I'm Tousi. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video.